The AsIs Podcast does not necessarily hold the views or opinions of our guests. The guests have a right to express their own thoughts, and those thoughts are protected with their freedom of speech. What they say is what they say, and we allow them the right to speak on their own behalf. The AsIs Podcast is not responsible nor liable for the opinions and stories of others. Welcome to another edition of the AsIs Podcast. Today's special guest is Lisa and Cassandra Kelly, the sisters of R. Kelly. You guys there?
We're here.
Hey.
I'm here.
How y'all doing today?
Doing well. Hope you are well. Everyone.
Okay. You guys have a very complex story, but I want to start and do it a little differently. I know that you guys have been under attack, and scrutinized and villainized and whatnot. Let's start off by telling us what exactly is that like? What's been going on?
Well, go ahead, Lisa.
Go ahead, Cassandra.
Well, it's difficult to be attacked all the time when we came into the picture just to support our brother.
Right.
They haven't found any fault in us, no one. And even if they were to find fault, it's still our business and our decision to support our brother.
Right.
So it's been kind of hard, and yet, we've grown tough skin. So we've grown a lot over these past 2.5 years. We have.
Well, I just want to say, to be when it comes to an attack, it's only a certain few that I am really not even concerned about, to be honest with you, because we aren't attacked. The majority of people are not concerned about, who we are. All they're concerned about as true fans, they're just concerned about to make sure that we have, Robert's best interest, at heart.
Right.
But as far as saying attack, I can honestly say it's just a little handful of, crazed fans that try to come at us. But yeah, I can't say that we actually been bashed. It's just the same little small circle of crazed fans, to be honest.
I mean, I know one story in particular that startled me, and I didn't really like it. And I don't know if you guys, I'm going to say it. And if you don't want to talk about it, it's fine. We can move on. But when you were going to court, you were attacked by someone who was trying to prevent you from going inside the courthouse. Can you elaborate on that?
But to be honest with you, this individual, this crazed fan, we have no dealings with this person. We don't know this person. When we were going inside the courtroom, we were unaware that we were supposed to come in at a certain time. The communication, got misconstrued. So Cassandra and I went at a time where there were other fans, out there. All the fans are out there. So we standing out there not knowing that, because we're not used to going to court.
We should have just gone in.
Yeah, we're not used to going to court in New York. We were unaware that someone had already fraudulently went in there as, perpetrating as the Kelly sisters. Yeah. And so that in itself, we didn't even know about that. So this individual came up to us and felt like we didn't deserve to be in there. It was just something that's a mindset that we are truly, truly not used to, not going to get used to, not going to stoop down to that level. But anyway, long story short, and she just put her hand in front of us and saying, "You're not going in. You just want him for money," and all that. Something that we have is so far beyond our way of thinking. We don't even. This is really nothing to even elaborate on.
I mean,
true.
I understand, but I think I think people have taken this case too far, and it's kind of like interpersonalized, if that's such a word. Like, they've personalized it, and as if it's them and R. Kelly is their property. And I think sometimes people have gone too far. And I think that's actually hurt him and hurt the case, because it kind of can be looked at as he has influence over people. And because these fans are so crazed, he's a danger or a threat to society because he controls these people. When in reality, these people are acting on their own accord. R. Kelly has nothing to do with that.
That's correct.
So I can kind of understand. But now let's get into the case. Unfortunately, he got found guilty and was convicted of several different things. He's yet to be sentenced. From your perspective, how do you feel about that case? How do you feel about the conviction?
I feel that it was an unfair trial, period. Robert is a world-known artist, R&B pop star, the king of pop. And so how do you truly get a fair trial? How do you get a fair juror in this case? So I think the entire thing was an unfair trial. His rights have been violated. It was just so unfair. And it was really hard to sit back and watch somebody that you love to go through this. It really is.
Right.
Yeah, we're living in times where the citizens of the United States are often judged and convicted in the media and on social media networks. Yeah. And this is what happened to Robert.
Yes.
They already had him convicted because of social media. Yeah. And the thing about it is, I really don't believe that they even did any research. That's why I felt like all this was just set. Everything was already set.
Yes. I mean, the evidence truly showed, you know what I'm saying, what it showed. And they didn't use the evidence in court. Like I said, it was just total unfair trial in so many different ways.
I got to play devil's advocate, so I got to hit you with some hard questions, because there are going to be those that don't agree with you. But I think part of his conviction is as a result of prior accusations and cases. But I think the most notable one that really pissed a lot of Black Americans off was the fact that he was alleged to have married Aaliyah. How do you guys feel about that?
How in the world? I don't understand. How could they even bring this young lady into this, and she's no longer around to even defend herself? Right. How can you do that? That's the first question I need to understand.
Right.
That is so far-fetched. How in the world could they bring this young lady into this?
I think the way they got around it was by using the RICO law. And the RICO law entitled them to go a little deeper than normal. It's kind of almost getting around double jeopardy, because I believe Aaliyah was brought up in the first case, or the rumors were circulating during the first case as well. They dug back however many years and used that against him as well. I don't think that they used the RICO law the right way.
It wasn't used.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't used the right way.
Okay. I spoke to his Chicago lawyer, Steve Greenberg, and he doesn't believe that either. So now it's up to an appellate court to decide his fate. Other than that, what were some of the other things that you've seen that you felt were wrong in the courthouse?
There was certain evidence that was not allowed, that I think that should have been allowed. There were certain witnesses for Robert that should have been allowed to speak. Everything was top heavy against Robert, and it's like his defense hands were tied.
Can you be
when it came to people that wanted to speak to him, wanted to speak for him, wanted to speak in his behalf.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't allowed to testify.
Yes.
Can you name one?
Well, I don't want to put any names out there.
Okay. Can you name one specific incident that you know for sure that they used that was wrong?
Well, okay, I'll say this. Just like when one of the alleged victims got up there and their story changed so many times. I was just sitting there looking at that monitor, and I'm like, okay, how many times is the story going to change?
Exactly. Even had evidence that was read in court, and then still.
Do you believe that some of the stuff that happened, and you don't have to answer this, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but I'm going to ask you, do you believe his defense team had something to do with his demise? Meaning, do you think they were strong enough to actually fight this case? And if he had a different defense team, would have been a different outcome?
I really don't. If he had a different defense team, I think they still would have found him guilty, because the government was determined to find him guilty. The way they went about it, I could tell that they were determined to find him guilty.
Right.
Regardless.
Right. But I mean, that.
I think Kannick did a great job considering the amount of time that he had to prepare for this trial.
Okay. I don't agree.
I mean,
but okay.
I can agree about that. Okay, for example, you can almost see, you can put your finger on the patterns. You know, you have a major network broadcast of a two-part unilateral bias documentary interviewing actual alleged victims.
Right.
Okay. Then you have all of these bloggers on YouTube. You know, the authorities watched YouTube.
Definitely.
So you have all of this negativity before his trial. It was like he was already sentenced before he even actually went to court.
Exactly.
Right.
You have all of this floating around. Yeah, and guess what? You had almost zero anyone speaking out for Robert, and then the ones that did speak out, they get bashed.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, let me tell you this from experience, in case our audience doesn't know. I did do a documentary called Precedence.
Yeah, you did.
And because of that, R. Kelly's name is taboo. So I think a lot of people that are being bashed or are afraid to speak up is as a result of the pressure that Hollywood is putting on them and just general basic America. But before I go on deeper into that, let me go back to the Kannick, if I'm saying his name right, because you guys seem to think that he did a good job. I don't. And here's why I say this. A, it's R. Kelly, high profile case. B, some people may not agree, but I feel there's racism involved in it. And the reason why I feel there's racism is because our court systems are primarily Caucasian. So you have a high profile black man accused of sexual crimes, sexual misconduct, whatever else there is to go along with that. I believe in order for a person like that to get a fair trial, you have to use the natives. And what that means is, if I am going to fight a case in a court where I know is predominantly white jurors, a white judge, a white bailiff, a white sheriff, I am going to get a white man to defend me. It has absolutely nothing to do with the education or how well of an orator the black man is, but he will not be respected in that court. That's A. B, for me, is because of those circumstances, there are certain things that black people know because we're black. We do not like to admit this out in the open. And this segment or section of what I'm about to say is something that will be said in the house when we're with our family. We won't go outside and step outside and say it. And so I'll say this. Integrity is crucial in life, but definitely crucial in law. Because of R. Kelly's status, because of the circumstances surrounding R. Kelly, that defense attorney should have said, I am not properly prepared to defend this man. I don't have enough time. I know what he's up against, and it would be unfair for me to hop on the bandwagon of R. Kelly for the name's sake and defend this case when I know it's a strong possibility that this man can lose. And as a result of that loss, he loses his life. I do not believe Canick had that type of integrity. Canick had the integrity of an ambulance chaser. It's somebody like R. Kelly. It's going to be national news. My career thus far has not been anywhere near as close to this fame as I'm having right now. So I'm going to take it and take my chances. I don't care about the client. I just care about the win or the loss. That within itself is a loss. That's integrity. That's something that we know as Black people, a lot of us do not have, because we're just going to go for it and we don't care who we hurt or what's jeopardized as long as we can shine for a minute. It's the same as a drug dealer. We know eventually you're going to get caught, but we'll take 90 days of living famously, nice car, girls, whatever, to spend 6 years in jail. He took 30 days of a trial to live in the limelight, to lose. That's my opinion. You don't have to agree, and that's fine. But moving on, with what you said, if you think it was already set up that he would lose regardless of his defense team, that is strong. And the reason why I'm saying that is because he now has Jennifer Bongine as his lawyer, his appellate lawyer. Do you think that still stands even with her?
No, I think that with Miss Bongine on his team, he definitely has an expert on his team. Yeah. And she's an expert in RICO. He has as you said, today's world, it's a lot of racism.
Without a doubt.
And I feel like with Miss Bongine on his team, he definitely has a chance. Because that's her expertise is. And the way the RICO, and she told me that herself, the RICO was used wrong.
Right.
And this has come from an expert on RICO.
Right.
And she is an expert.
Right. So are you guys happy basically with her?
Yes, we are. Thus far, yes, we are happy with her.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. So, but what you're saying is, and I don't want to get you in a jam, because if you really listen to me, I'm about to get you in a jam. Because what you just said is basically going against what you said in the beginning for the Canick team. Because although you know that she stands a better chance of winning, you didn't give Canick that same thought process. So I think, I know you
because I don't want to truly or say too much concerning Robert's counsel.
Right.
So I'll just not say anything at all.
And you know what? That's what I love about us being Black people, because our audience, as well as we know the truth. I know why you don't want to say certain things, and I don't blame you. Like, I'm not going to do anything to jeopardize a family and member of mine either. And I think most people will be smart enough to pick up on that. What I don't like with people is we know the truth, but yet we still tell lies. And I'm sorry, it's not an attack on Canick. It's just an attack on how the whole thing went. And my disclaimer towards it is, I feel every person has the right to have a fair trial. It doesn't matter if they're Black or white, but I'm more biased and lenient towards Black men because I'm a Black man. And I know we get kicked in the butt a lot. And that's what I'm against. However, if you're guilty, you're guilty. So if R. Kelly is guilty, lock his ass up. But even with that being said, you have to first find that man guilty, and you have to do it fairly. Because if we accept whatever is given to us from him, for him, what happens to the men that aren't R. Kelly? They don't stand a chance.
But you have to understand that the judicial system is already set up in a way, I'm going to say that it's set up the way it's supposed to be set up against our Black men, against our colored people of color, I would say.
I agree. And so,
I hear so many people saying, oh, no, it's broken. It's not broken. It's set up the way it's supposed to be. And that's against the people of color.
I agree.
It's too many. It's too many times. It's too many experiences I've had. You see it in the media all the time. You know, look at the guy that killed 2 people and he's out of jail.
Kyle Rittenhouse, exactly, and that's a travesty.
What am I seeing here?
Exactly.
Yes.
But what I this is what I don't get. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But yet, with my brother, there's really limited or hearsay. His conviction is based off of hearsay.
Right.
Hearsay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that.
It's hearsay and the social media, which is really just hearsay.
Right. Let me ask you this. Let's go into some of his accusers, because the accusers are where the hearsay comes from. So if I name, would you guys like to talk about the accusers, or do you want to refrain from that?
Yeah, I decline. You know, I digress talking about the accusers.
Okay. If we don't talk about, okay, that's fine. No pressure, no worries. Let's just talk about the plight of women, period. Do you believe that with the accusers that he had, does that somehow represent women? Because it's like, if you go against those women who've made these accusations, there are organizations who will say or feel you're going against women. Do you believe that?
I can say this. If I say that, then that means there are people that actually did go through sexual trauma. How do they feel when they look at, and they know the symptoms of it? It's women out there that actually have been sex trafficked. How do they feel?
Have been abused.
Yeah, how do they feel when they see women up here, you know, twerking and, you know, taking pictures and posing? That is not the way someone that's been sexually abused and trafficked acts. I'm sorry.
Right. So let me ask you this. Is that a sign that Black people know? Is it something that, let me give you a great example. Like, okay, I come from the hood, like, and I wear that as a badge of honor, and I work my ass to get out of it. But while being there, and I still work there, so, you know, I don't want to get it confused. But when you come from something, you can immediately identify. So if you see, for example, for me, and tell me if you've seen this and if you agree or not, you might see a girl, voluptuous, or she might be just a pretty girl or whatever, but she has the characteristics and traits of a stripper. And here's why I'll say it. You always see her jumping out of a nice car. It could be 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. You might just happen to look out your window and look downstairs and you see her. And she always has a roller case. You know those little roller cases that's on wheels that you can pull behind you that you see people use in the airport? You know an answer?
Mm-hmm.
You just gonna listen?
I'm sorry. I could hardly hear you. You went very low.
Yeah.
No, okay. Let me just make it quick. A girl that's pulling a roller case that you see in the airport, and she's always dressed provocatively, and she's a pretty girl, and you see her 2 or 3 in the morning jumping out of always luxury cars. Because I come from the hood and I identify with it, 9 times out of 10, she's a dancer, because that's what dancers do. That is their characteristics, and that is what they do. So if I was to hear something, you know, later on with that girl and look at her, because I've seen it all my life growing up in the projects or in the hood, I already know the characteristics and traits of people like that. I would immediately put together in my head what she is, because that's what I've seen.
Okay.
I think Black America has done the same thing with some of the so-called accusers, because we've seen this before. And a lot of times people who have those type of accusations are gold diggers.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a fair assessment?
I think what you're saying is the same thing that I've said. I think what you're saying is, okay, because the way a person has been treated and what they've been through, some people, you know, they wear it on their shoulders. Some people, either way, whether you wear it on your sleeve or whether it comes out another way, either way, that treatment is going to come out. So I said that to say, I just don't see with going through that type of sexual trauma, how it's, you know, you're able to take pictures and smile and cheese and, you know what I'm saying, and get awards and all of this. I don't see how that you're with that type of mindset.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying.
Right. Okay. No problem. So the next question that I would ask as a devil's advocate is, do you believe any of those girls are telling anything slightly truthful, or you just think everyone lied?
Well, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I'm not going to say I don't believe any of them, but I don't believe that 99% of what my brother's been accused of that he did. I don't believe that.
Right.
I just don't believe it. I don't believe it at all.
Right.
I think a lot of the things that are coming behind him, are coming at him from alleged victims and certain people, is all a money grab. It's all about money.
Right. But in all fairness, I mean, everyone just targeted R. Kelly. Do you believe some of that? You have to be honest with yourself. And it has to be something where we say, he's a poor decision maker. Would you agree with that?
I'm not going to say he's a poor decision maker. I'll just say,
as far as women are concerned,
his heart, when he makes decisions, his heart, he makes decisions from having a good heart.
Okay.
And I believe that's what, and having the type of people that he's had around him.
Right.
Because he's very down to earth.
Right.
And when you're a celebrity, you just can't be that down to earth. You can't allow people to have access to you. Right. Those days are over when you're a world-renowned superstar.
Yeah, this is the result.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I think that there should have been a wall, which takes me into this. Because he was charged with RICO and the enterprise thing, why do you think he's the only one that's being convicted and put out on the cross? Where are the other people?
What was that?
Where are the other people? Where are the other people? Like, he has a RICO charge, and a RICO consists of several people. Where are the other people, in your opinion?
That's how you know that there are just malicious people behind this. There is more to this, whether it's political or someone with deep pockets that has an agenda. When you look at this, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see there is something more behind this. Right. These are questions that I hope, people are asked, why is he the only one being charged? This is supposed to be RICO. Okay. Right. Okay. Why was the language in this case, why was it allowed to be changed in last minute? What was going on with that? Right. See, smart people ask questions.
Right.
So that's a very good question. And because I've asked them the same one. Right. That same one question rings in my head every day. I'm like, why is he the only one?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You got the language being changed, and it's just a lot.
It is. It definitely is.
But all it brings out to me, the only thing out of everything is still injustice.
Right. Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this. Go ahead.
I mean, this is nothing new that's been going on in the entertainment, in the entertainment business.
That's right.
But why R. Kelly?
Right.
Why Robert Kelly? Someone that has produced hundreds of other artists.
I think because our brother he has to be more aggressive. He has to show people. If he had been showing people, I am not going to take this. I will see you in court. Right. No, I'm not going to allow this. No, I'm not going to allow that. No, you are not going to come at me. And, I think that just being too nice and not showing people, I will drag your behind in court. I think that made people more aggressive to feel, he'll deal with it. He'll deal with what we're bringing him. He'll not say anything.
Yeah, he has a good heart.
So I believe, him not being aggressive and responding to things of this nature, I think that made him a target.
Right.
I feel people feel like, oh, I can just get a job and just steal from him and do whatever we want to. He doesn't have a family. He doesn't have anyone that's going to, you know what I'm saying, have his back or support him. I think that's the way people were thinking.
Right.
They just felt they could take advantage.
It got out of control.
All the stealing, all the creating these fake accounts in his name and getting money. And he didn't even have an ATM card to some of these accounts and businesses in his name and all this stuff. Yeah.
I mean, but is that something that we normally see in the African-American community? Are there guys that are usually like that, or is it the opposite? Or, you know, in your eyesight, what have you seen? Was that normal
Usually
behavior?
Someone, you know, that's on the level that he's on. Yeah. They would have to go through layers to get to him. You don't have just access.
Right.
I think that this has caused our brother to really think, and he realizes because he's, like I said, he's down to earth, and he's beginning to realize that I really just cannot give people access.
Mm-hmm.
I can't give people, even though I love people, even though I love my fans, you know, even though I want to do the right thing by people and give people jobs, I can't do that. I can't do that because every time I try to do that and try to help people out, they're going to take advantage of me. They're going to look at me as a way. They're going to want to be me. Okay, I can't look past the jealousy. I can't look past these people that are looking at me as a way out. You know, financial way out. I have to no longer give people access to my life. I can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Do you think that's
the same people that I helped? They've turned against him. The same people he's helped, they've turned against him. They've robbed him.
But isn't that normal behavior in the hood? That's normal.
Isn't that normal behavior in what?
In the hood, in urban communities. That's no.
Yeah, in the hood, of course.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. In the hood. Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Not to be disrespectful towards him, but he lived a hood lifestyle with money. What I think is something like my grandmama used to say. I can't remember exactly, but it kind of rounded out to you could take the nigga out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the nigga. And that's sometimes when keeping it real goes wrong. You want to stay around your people. You want to support your people. You understand, but there's got to come a point where you got to say, you know what? I got to get the hell away from them, because if they don't, they're going to suck me dry, and they will suck you dry. And that just doesn't apply to R. Kelly. It could be whoever's the head of a family usually feels or goes through what R. Kelly is going through. Maybe not to the extent of what he's accused of or what he's convicted of or any of that, but to the point of just being somewhat of the matriarch of the family. So if you're the female or the male who makes the most money, mama calls you when there's a problem. Sister calls you when there's a problem, because you're going to always come through to try to fix whatever it is for everybody. You may be the one to have the money. So everybody is always looking at you for the answer. That was R. Kelly, but not with family, with everybody. But usually happens with those people is they get tired of that shit or they get sucked dry. And when they fall, they don't have anybody to go to. Because can't nobody help them pay or do what they did for everybody else. And so now those people usually fall into bad times. And that's normal behavior in the hood. You know, you can't be a R. Kelly and go back to the projects with your jewelry on and in a Rolls Royce. Because even though those people love you, somebody is waiting to rob your ass and take something from you. So sometimes you got to pack your stuff and just never look back. And then you get accused of, well, you're not really one of us anymore. But not being one of us equals becoming R. Kelly in a sense. Because R. Kelly decided to stay and deal with that kind of stuff. And look what it got him. Whether it's true or not, those are the behaviors. I don't know the characteristics and traits, I don't know if that's not narcissism. You hear a lot of people throwing that word around. I don't think that's what it is. I don't know exactly what it is because I'm not a psychologist or a sociologist, but I've seen stuff like that. Let's move on. What do you think is going to fix this case? And is it fixable?
Which part is which part? There's so many layers. Which part is which part able to be repaired? Which part are you talking about?
The part that is the most damaging.
You mean his brand, the tainting of his name?
In your opinion, whatever you decide, I don't know. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
I feel like there are people that feels like he's guilty. There are people that feels like he's not guilty. I feel like that since he's who he is, I feel like that because see the thing is, I think that the reason why this went so far is because he didn't have a PR. He didn't have someone out there blasting the good parts of him, the good sides of him, his character, the things he's done for people. He's on there. They threw that, jammed it really, and blasted it everywhere. That Lifetime docuseries, they just threw that down everyone's throat and programmed them. He's guilty, and that's just what it is. Right. And then the way they made him appear, with his all shackled, you would think he is the gentleman in Silence of the Lamb. Hannibal. Right. You would think that's how he is when this man is Robert is so humble.
Right.
He is so humble. The conversations that we've had, the many conversations we've had over the years, you could just know that's just him. That's who he is. Right. So, but the way they have caused him to look and the way the media has programmed him, his appearance, not him, but the way they have programmed people to think. Yeah. When you see that and you don't know him, you're like, oh my God, he is a monster. Mm-hmm. And then to shut down anyone that tries to have a voice, to put plants on the web, so to bash any one of his supporters,
on there to fight against them. I mean, they even said it, and they have bus drivers. They have people out to do their job.
Yeah, they were emboldened to say these things. Right. And then you have the media, the mainstream media, that actually tell you we can't put out anything except something that is negative if we are to get paid. I quote.
I can definitely believe that.
The media, they have already assassinated him.
Yeah. How do you feel about the celebs that refuse to talk that were once involved with him? How do you feel about those people? What are their characters to you?
I couldn't hear you.
I couldn't hear you.
How do you feel about the people that he's helped or he's made songs for, who will not speak out?
God. I have.
You said who wouldn't speak?
Who will not speak out on his behalf or are scared?
That he's helped.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that they can sleep at night. I pray they can sleep at night. And that's all I have to say about that part.
Okay.
Because loyalty goes a long way.
They have their reasons that they haven't,
Right.
But we're people that help,
Yeah, I'm sure some things behind the scenes that we aren't aware of.
Right.
That's causing them to keep silent. So,
yeah, so they have their reasons. So really can't speak out and that. They have their reasons.
I mean, I understand, and I think their reasons or rationale might be they don't want to be ostracized, and they don't want to lose what they got. And the passionate argument for R. Kelly is so deep on both sides that. It's just a lot, and most people, they're not willing to risk losing or being involved in those battles.
Yeah.
I think that's, that's what it is.
Yeah.
But is that fixable? That was the original question. Is that fixable? And is that what you would want fixed? If you could fix something in this entire ordeal, would you fix his, the accusations made against him, his reputation, or his legal status?
Brand is everything.
Yeah. Yes. His reputation is everything.
Brand is everything.
Right. So is that what you would select?
I mean, that was a hard question. I mean,
You got to pick something, though.
I mean, reputation is everything. You can't make money without a brand.
They're just like the domino effect. All of them are important in this situation.
They're all intertwined.
But they are. But what would you pick? Like you would, if we were to start somewhere to say, okay, say it again.
I'd say his name.
Okay.
I'd say his reputation.
His brand. That's his name. His brand.
Because where I'm trying to head with this is, if we were to say R. Kelly is fixable, the situation is fixable. The first question that I'd like to know as a hater or as a fan was, what do we fix first? That's what I'd like to know. R. Kelly is fixable, but what do we fix first?
And give me those. Give me the options again.
Broken to be fixed. So that's what's broken to be.
I don't know what's broken to be fixed. What I'm saying is, the turmoil that he's in, there's obviously a problem. If we could fix that problem, or if there's a solution to that problem, what would it be that we fix to bring that solution, to erase that solution? Not to erase the solution, but to erase the problem. So when saying, what is there to fix, there has to be a lot to fix because he's in that situation. Now, it could be something that's fixable, be it where he no longer makes the selections that he makes in women. It could be fixed, like what, I'm sorry.
Well, I think like Lisa was saying earlier, he's got that wall needs to be built around him.
No access. Access denied.
No access.
Okay.
Everything needs to be done decent and in order. All records need to be kept. Everything's to be nothing waived. Everything done decent and in order.
That's correct. He needs to know. The first person to get to him, to access to him, should not be him.
Okay.
It needs to be access denied. Okay. He has a right to run his household the way he runs his household. People should not be able to go out anywhere they want to in his household.
All through his household, running to the bathroom, up and down the steps, stealing from him.
They have stealing from him. And I don't know why the government tried to make that seem like that was right when it was wrong as hell.
Right.
Shabazz, would you have somebody coming up in your house?
No.
While you working and going all through your house? Or would you say, no, I'll show you?
As a world-renowned celebrity.
No. And you know what? I'm glad you said that, because that gives me a chance to address the critics for me. When I did the documentary, I'll briefly tell you that I was in his house. And I understand. I understand people's reluctance to going into someone's house. And I feel like people have a right to say, Shabazz was wrong. But my justification to that incident was it wasn't planned. It was something that happened and it was spontaneous. But on another defensive note, what he did was he allowed 2 other people to be permanent guests. And that gave them the power to bring in whoever they liked. So in essence, it was wrong, but it wasn't wrong. Now, when you accuse me of being wrong, people accuse me of being wrong for going in and filming with Azriel and filming a fight with Joycelyn. And I understand that. But it was a spontaneous thing. I get what you're saying, and I guess I'm guilty of it too. But sometimes
this is what I'm saying.
Hang on.
This is the part that I'm talking about when you said what should be fixed.
Right.
Okay. Whenever he was, when he was out, people would come to his home. They had, no one should have access to him. That's what I'm talking about.
Right. I get it. I didn't do that.
That's the part I'm talking about. Now, when it comes to some individuals, when it comes to certain things, that's what I mean by certain people you allow in your life. To me, I just wouldn't have just anyone in my life. I just wouldn't. Just like with me and Cassandra, even now, we won't just interview with just anyone. because we realize people like twisting your words. You know, people love drama.
Right.
It's like there are people that just they don't care how much harm they cause you. They are determined to try to destroy your name, you know, and even though they don't have no reason to, that's just what's in them.
Right.
So I think that the first place I would start is no access. Access denied.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's do it.
What Shabazz was saying, though, let's get back to what he was saying about.
He was talking about
having
when he was locked up.
When that went down, yeah, and he was up in Robert's place, and I asked him a question: was Shabazz, would you like somebody going through your house, or you know what I'm saying?
I get it.
That's correct.
But no, listen to me. Listen to me. I want to make this clear. You can be mad at me and come at me. I get it because I'm neutral. Some people don't understand that. My fight is not for R. Kelly. My fight is not against R. Kelly. My fight, whether people like it or not, is for Black people, because I realize that if I'm standing next to R. Kelly, which I have, and there's been people standing next to me, if something happens, you can't tell us apart. From a distance, we all look the same, and we all gonna take the same charge. So I'm not doing it as an individual. I'm doing it as a whole, because that somebody next time might be one of my sons. Might be a nephew. Might be a friend. And because I allowed what happened the first time, that just gave entryway to the next time. It made them feel like it was all right. So when people are mad at me, if you feel some kind of way about me, you have a right to feel that way. I don't feel nothing bad against you because you feel something, you know, that I shouldn't have done. An afterthought.
Well, to be honest, when I saw it, I was like, yes, I was mad. I'll be honest.
But it's cool.
I was like, but that's still his place. I don't care where he is, and whoever he gave access to that place, he still pays for that place. And I wouldn't want any other, you know, female coming up in my house when I'm in a bad situation.
I get it.
I don't feel like anybody should have been in his house.
Yeah. So that's just how I feel. So I thought it was wrong. So yes, I was mad, and you know, I'm glad we're able to discuss that.
Well, I get it.
Upset about that.
I get it.
You know.
And you can call me.
It goes back to, you know, when Robert trusted certain individuals not to give access.
Yeah. And it's a shame that he's been found guilty by association.
Right.
And my thing is, another thing I don't understand is, how do we know that a lot of the so-called evidence, how do we know that wasn't planted? It's just so many loopholes.
Right.
How do we know that wasn't planted? So many people coming in and out of his house.
Exactly. Rob,
nothing was secured.
The opportunity to have a fair trial. Right. It's wrong.
All of it's wrong.
Well, I can tell you that there were other people that were in that house before me that I know for sure. Timothy Savage was there. His wife was there. Azriel, Angelo. I don't know who they let in. No, and you know what? Actually, from what I understand, Angelo allowed the Savages in as a result of his daughter. So he was trying to show them something or something like that, and they were in.
It's all disrespectful in so many different ways. It is. And if they weren't allowed there while the man was there, why are you there now? Anyway.
I mean, it's something for you guys to be mad about. And I get it. Like I said, I understand. I see both sides. And I'm not making excuses. I was definitely in the man's house, and I definitely filmed. I didn't have any of my camera equipment with me. It was spontaneous. Azriel was having a problem. At the time, I didn't realize that I was kind of like being the scapegoat, because I came to help her. And her attitude as a result of fighting with Joycelyn was, since I went through all that, you know, to hell with it. Let's just film here. And I'm not gonna lie. Like if I sit here and tell you, you know, that didn't I don't even know how to explain it. I went along with the program. Was I wrong for going along with the program? I could see yeah, and I could see no. It was my job to film. It was my job to make a documentary. You know, then you have other accusers who feel like, well, me and R. Kelly was friends, and this is. I knew R. Kelly. We weren't friends. We didn't go hang out. I've gone to eat with them. I've always been the kind of person in the R. Kelly camp who was separate. And when I say separate to say I had my own. There were others. I'm not the only one. There were others who had their own as well. But for the most part, 80% of those people ain't have a pot to piss in the window to throw it out of. If I decided I wanted to pay for my food, I could pay for my food. And I could pay for everybody's food in the room if I decided to. There were very few that could do that. So I never looked at myself as a part of the R. Kelly entourage. If I decided to say what's up, I said what's up. If I ain't want to say nothing, I ain't say nothing. Everybody else had to say something because they didn't have anything. And so it was brownie points. I never felt like, you know what I'm saying? There was nothing for me to not say. I remember one of the last times I seen, we was at the cigar bar on Lake Street, and he used to keep a plastic bag. And in this plastic bag, he had custom cigars. And he gave me a cigar. Yeah, I still got that cigar. I still have that cigar. It is still in the same bag. It was me, him, and a couple of other people. But the people who were with us that night, they weren't they couldn't do anything without R. Kelly list. Unfortunately, people of his stature and his status have a lot of people who are around him like that. So the short version of the story is we were cool. We were cool. Definitely we were cool. But at the end of the day, I was there to perform and do a job. Even before that happened, we had planned to do a documentary together, a musical documentary, to which I was in charge of. He treated me like a partner. He didn't treat me like I was his friend, and he wasn't supposed to. Friends have no place in business. That's how I see it. I don't want my friends in business because a friend is going to steal from you. A friend is going to feel a sense of entitlement. A friend is going to be a friend. He's going to be late. Like, it's just going to be something. I'd rather we just be associates or you work for me. So this is your job. I know you're going to do your job.
Yeah, and still in your job and all things like you were saying, it's about integrity.
But it is. And sometimes we fall short.
That's correct.
And I agree. And sometimes that applies.
That's correct.
That applies to me. Anything I say about someone else applies to me, and I'm man enough to accept my faults. I'm not perfect. This is as is, not as you want it to be.
No one is. Yeah.
And then here's the thing. And just like with us doing this interview, someone will find a way to make it seem like we're wrong for speaking out, on Shabaz's podcast.
How? You did a documentary with me.
All we want to do is get out there that Robert is not a monster and he is being unjustly accused.
Right.
Without evidence.
Well, let's get back.
No one is looking at that. No one is looking at, this is what Cassandra and Lisa are about. They haven't done anything to disrespect their brother. They haven't been out there trying to, make money off his name. The only thing we have tried to do is raise money.
Their own money to support him.
That's correct.
And an Uber ride.
Right.
They don't know what we've done behind the scenes because it's none of anyone's business to know every move we make.
Right.
We work in silence. Except whenever I'm out there doing my music thing, that's another thing. But as far as we work in silence.
Right. As you should. So let's move along and see, how do we fix what's coming up? And maybe I shouldn't use the word again, fix. How do we address the next court cases? Oh no, before we go there, if he wins this appeal with Jennifer, what do you think would be his next step? Or what would you like for it to be his next step?
Well, the next step we would love, because he's got 2 other cases that we have got to get over those humps. So the next step is getting over those.
Right.
And then we can talk about the next step.
Right.
Yeah, you mean after all the court cases and everything?
After all the court cases, those 2 humps that's left after the
access, denying access, getting people that are licensed, bonded, making sure that he has wealth management teams, making sure that he has professional people around him, okay? People that are going to give account if they make any mistakes, building, rebuilding his brand or correcting the wrongs in his brand where he is protected, where people are not stealing from him. If you open an account in his name, you're going to jail. bringing people into accountability.
That's
Right.
correct.
That where, where you are not just coming to work for him so that you can steal or so that you can set him up or so that you can bait him in or do whatever you want to do. That's the way this needs to be looked at. The way it really is that he was set up as a target.
Right. So do you think the rebranding and rebuilding of R. Kelly should be done in America or on American soil, or should he take it overseas? Because contrary to popular belief, in America, I think it's going to be hard. But in other places, Germany, Switzerland, Africa, he's still a king.
Mm-hmm. I'll say wherever.
I'll say
I think if truth be known, because you still have thousands of fans, thousands of listeners.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Here in the United States. So I think if the truth be known and the truth comes out, I think it can only get better for him in the United States.
Right.
I really do.
So you would suggest that he stay in America
and put out there.
I'm not gonna say that he stay in America, but I think that he should still not give up on America there, because he has fans here that really do love him.
Right.
They're not gone anywhere, and they see through all of this setup and conspiracy. They see through all of that. These are hardcore fans. They've actually, they were the investigators. They await him. They await his return, and they believe, and they are, some of them are prayer warriors. So it's just not.
Let's talk about them. Let's talk about them. Who are they?
And I know he got to do what's best for him, but I believe that he should do both.
Let's talk about the prayer warriors and the people who are really there for him as fans. You want to name any in specifically?
Yes.
Like him too. Him too.
Okay.
Terry. Dottie
Wait. Y'all got to talk one at a time, because y'all messing up the good part. Name them. Rename them. Terry. Okay.
Terry. Let me tell you about Terry.
All right.
She is a diehard fan. Okay. She's there at the court dates.
Okay.
She's the one. She's the one that Robert called when he didn't have our phone numbers.
Is she a blogger?
No, she's not a blogger.
Okay.
She's not a blogger. But she's a realist.
Supporter, yeah. And so he contacted her and asked her to get in contact with us.
Who else?
Dottie.
Okay. Is she a blogger?
I love Dottie. Dottie Coley. She has her groups. She sat there taking the most accurate notes while we were in the courtroom.
Very smart. Holly,
very, very smart. Okay. And then you have him too. Him too moves in silence.
Yes.
They move in silence. I love those ladies.
Supporting from the beginning.
Okay. Who else?
These are the people, just to name a few, that are out here, and they are not concerned about Robert's gene pool. They're just concerned about, okay, who's for him, who's against him.
Right.
Robert loves them. We love them too.
Right.
They're not trying to bash us. They're not, because they see we're moving in silence, and we don't even get into any of that. He said, she said, bashing people. And those are people that are not what we call true supporters. They're not. They're the ones that will get Robert attached, get his name attached to a lot of messiness. And then here we go.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. How do you feel about Bruce and Carrie?
I think Bruce and Carrie, myself, we love Bruce and Carrie. We have nothing against them, even though people have gotten in their ears against us. We have nothing against Bruce and Carrie, to be honest, no matter what they've said, because we understand that they're under a lot of pressure too. Right. We don't hate anyone. We don't have anything against them.
Right. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, we're family, and, we don't have anything against them.
Right. So how do you feel if they bash you or when they bash you? Because one of them says some derogatory things about you. Do you just openly take the high road?
You know what I think that is? I think that that's someone that has gotten in their ears because we hear derogatory things about them all the time. But
Right.
do you see us being puppeteered, getting on there, bashing them, saying, no, we don't do that.
Right.
No. And, out here it's about divide and conquer with Robert.
That's the best war move ever.
And so they got into their ear because they feel like, I don't know, they're weak or something, and they can't get in their ear to divide and conquer the family and keeping us from supporting him together as a family. Right. So Lisa and I going to do what we got to do. So we're not going to bash them and tear them down. We're not here to do that. We're not.
Our minds are bigger than that.
Yeah. Right. So much love to Carrie and Bruce.
Much love.
How do you ever discuss this with Kelly himself, with Rob? Do you ever talk to him about these type of things?
Yes, and we have no comment. We've discussed it with him. We've discussed a lot with him. And that's the thing that makes me laugh when we talk, because people don't know the conversations we have. We are an open book to our brother. He understands where we're coming from, and we know things that no one else knows. He knows we know, and it has shocked him. He knows who we are. Right. So other than that, we really aren't concerned about anyone else. We just aren't.
Those who don't like it, it is what it is. We didn't ask for this. It took Lisa and I, when we first found out,
wow.
It took us a while before stepping up out here, and then we started making our moves after we did our own research.
Right.
And then we stepped out and started trying to contact certain people that we knew that was in his circle. You know what I'm saying? So that's how we started trying to contact and reach out to him.
What made you decide to reach out and contact him? Was it the case, or was it something that you had been doing on your own anyway? Like, what brought that about?
Because he is our blood, and we fight for our blood. I don't know about other families, but we fight tooth and nail for our blood. That's what made us, not who he is, not what he has. We are a close-knit family, and we will fight tooth and nail for our blood.
Right.
And what made us actually come out is, we
didn't have a choice.
Our cousin was like, okay, this is it. You need to help your brother. And that's all.
Even after that. And we're talking about a cousin that is a magistrate. She was a magistrate judge, also a doctor. This is not some run-of-the-mill person that's from the ghetto. That's why I laugh at people. I laugh at people because they don't know our history and they don't know our background.
We have a lot of history with a lot. We can name some folks for you, but that's our family. We'll have a movie or something about our family history.
We actually do. Our family is actually doing a docuseries on some other people.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what? I remember a part inside of the documentary when you talked about the cousin that came to you and broke the story down to you. So I do remember that happening. How did you feel when you first found out, when it was brought to your attention that, hey, this is your brother? Like, I remember the story with Cassandra saying that.
I was shocked.
Was it?
Because she came to me first and I was shocked. And then I was angry. And then I went back to being shocked. And so I called Lisa, tell her about it.
Right.
And so we discussed it. And Lisa, how you feel?
You already know I was angry because I'm like, all this time we were talking to this man on the phone since he was 9 years old.
We were cousins.
Yeah, I remember you said that in the documentary.
It's okay. But we won't get deep into that because that's
we are so over all the negativity concerning that.
Right.
Yeah.
I understand.
So, like I said, Lisa and I, we waited. We did our research. We didn't even move. Like I said, when we were told, we didn't move. We were like, what? At this time? What? So we did our research and we prayed about it and we moved.
Now, this is our, I don't know about any other families, but, we named our children after each other.
Right.
So when we went to the elder in our family, one of the elders, and asked, we were like, wait a minute, how can he be this, and that? And there's nobody else in our family. And when he told us who his name was, I hit the floor.
Right.
All this time he was named after him.
Yeah, but we'll put that in,
We'll let Robert tell that part.
Right. And I got to play devil's advocate on this. Before, I would suggest to you that I would keep away the docuseries part, because there are going to be people who say, look, that's exactly what I'm talking about. They're trying to make a film. How would you respond
we're not
to
the
that?
ones. Actually, we're not the ones that's making it.
Oh, okay.
We're not the one. This part right here doesn't even have to do with Robert. It's on my mom's side. So this doesn't have anything to do with him.
Okay.
And if Robert chooses to, I don't mean to sound like I don't care, but Lisa and I have tough skin now, so it's not about what they think and how they feel. It's about what we're going to do as a family and what we all agreed to do as a family.
Right.
Who has a problem?
Correct.
Who has a problem?
Talk. They do all that's all they do. They don't even know the half. Okay, of what Robert already knows. So we don't care about that.
Yeah, we don't
all
care
we care about is how he's doing. Keep him encouraged. Keep supporting him. Keep hitting flights to make sure he's okay. And other than that, we're not concerned about that.
We don't care. Don't care.
That's all people doing is talking.
Right. I get it.
What I love about Dottie, Terry, him too, they're not just talking. They're doing.
Right. Yeah. I get it. Hey, listen, we've been on this interview for quite some time. Which leads me to, we are going to have to come back later and do it again. It's a pleasure talking to y'all. What I like about you is what I want you to like about me, and I like the transparency of it. It's like just taking on a project or taking on something and not really giving a damn about what somebody thinks, because sometimes that's what holds people back. People are scared of success because they're scared to go after it. And sometimes it's as a result of how other people feel or what people are going to think. And you'll never win like that. So if you have the attitude to fight for your brother and you don't care, and that's just what it is, then that's what it is. And I think that's respectable. And so I say that also to say that, the transparency part, it's okay to be mad at me. And I could be mad at you. But as an adult or as a responsible person, you learn how to get that, you fix that. The same question I asked, how do we fix R. Kelly? You express how you feel. Two people express how they feel. They talk about it, they work it out, and they move on. Mm-hmm. And that's how things are supposed to be. Unfortunately, the passion that surrounds R. Kelly, and it's probably because of the songs and people have grown up on him and they feel that they know him, they can't separate that. So that's why there's a lot of fighting and bickering. And, and that in the long run, it doesn't help him. It hurts. You know what I mean?
It doesn't help. Mm-hmm. It doesn't help him at all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So listen, guys, I appreciate you. Thanks for being on my show. Anything you want to say to anybody?
Just thank you guys for your support. For Robert, his true fans, we do appreciate you. Robert appreciate you guys. And we do appreciate Shabazz giving us the time.
You my people.
Appreciate that.
Yo, you already know you my people. I don't care nothing about what nobody say. I don't care if it's Jay-Z.
We definitely appreciate
Jesus Christ.
And we appreciate all the kind words. We appreciate that.
Right.
All the kind words. It's a lot of things that we just can't put out there. But we appreciate the people that have actually stuck in there and have a real heart, for R. Kelly. Yeah. We appreciate you.
I have a heart for just, I don't know. I just have a thing for women. I guess all men do. Well, nah, you know what? Today all men don't. But I just have a thing for Black women. And sometimes you see them going through things and you just like, you're there. It's not so much as whatever. And I think from the day when we first met, it's kind of been like, I was there for you. Like, I don't really give a damn if he's guilty or if he's not guilty. That's not going to change the way I feel about you. And if I was a fan of R. Kelly's, and I do love his music, and I'm still going to play R. Kelly's music. However, I don't give a damn about guilt or not guilt. If he is found guilty and he has to do his time, he has to do his time. But that is not going to change me liking him. What I don't like about the entire situation is because whatever he's accused of, you turn. I don't think that's a real friend. It's like if I have a son and my son is gay and I'm Muslim, that is forbidden based on my belief. But I'm not turning my back on my son. I turn my back on Islam.
And I just want to be clear. You know, God bless those women that actually have been sex trafficked. God bless them and give them all the comfort in the world. You know, and I pray for them. But you know, my heart goes out. The ones that actually have been. I'm not talking about the ones out here taking pictures, showing boobies, twerking, and all this stuff to make money off of the R. Kelly name and brand.
Awards.
Right.
I'm talking about there are females out here that have been through that type of trauma.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, guys. Yeah. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you.
We're going to see you again. Good luck with standing strong and standing firm next to your brother. I'm sure he appreciates that. And I'm sure he's going to hear this. You know they got them things in jail. They got phones in jail, so they can definitely hear stuff.
Oh, we love you, brother.
All right,
much love to you. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Y'all have a good night.
Bye-bye. You too. Bye-bye.